It is the production phase again in Kanungu district for the tobacco growers. March is a good month to start opening the nurseries. For one farmer, Benon Tushabe, this will not be possible. The marketing season did not yield any fruit. His company, Continental Tobacco, did not buy his crop, and it may not do so for a long time to come.
Now I am totally distorted. I don't know what to do.
Even a visit by Uganda and Tanzanian MPs brought in by the Center for Tobacco Control in Africa did not offer Tushabe an immediate solution. The legislators had called on him and other farmers to acquaint themselves with how Uganda is handling farmers' adjustment from growing tobacco.
We as Parliament received a petition against Continental Tobacco. This petition was made by tobacco growers from Bunyoro region that Continental Tobacco owed them 850 million shillings. They had refused to pay for the last 4 years. So as Parliament, we instructed the Minister of Trade that when the license of operation for Continental Tobacco Company expires, they shouldn't renew until these people pay the 850 million shillings plus an interest.
Since 2012 December, when Tushabe failed to sell off his crop to Continental, he resorted to storing it. This is just a third of what he has grown. The other 2/3 is stored elsewhere. In his one-bedroomed house, this is what most farmers have resorted to, making tobacco part of the bedding. They inhale it throughout the night and in time of the day as they hop in and out of their houses. But do you know that tobacco is dangerous to someone's health?
Yeah.
Have you heard of that?
Yeah.
Lawrence Twinomgisha, who has grown it for almost 30 years, also admits that it's a health threat. Why do you still grow tobacco?
That's what they know how to grow. If you've done something for the last 15 years, that's what you know, and that's all you know. So I think the clear thing that's coming through is that these farmers need education. They need to have information to know how do you transit. How can they compare a crop with another crop they've never had?
The Minister of Agriculture has done soil testing and they have done soil mapping. So they have done agricultural zoning. They have come up with crops which can do well in this area.
This does not sound convincing to Tushabe and the over 130 farmers in Rushoroza parish who got loans from the blacklisted Continental.
They are sending us their messages that don't sell our crops because we are going to buy it as long as we give you our loans. So that's why also we are failing to sell it to another company.
The other company is British American Tobacco, BAT, which most farmers allege is assisted by local politicians to have monopoly over the crop.
The average of BAT is 2,500. The average of Continental is 5,000.
Despite the fact that Continental's license was cancelled, Tushabe is hopeful.
And if they don't come?
If they don't come, I have to look for other means and get other crops to sell.
It will be a blessing for the campaigners of the crop like World Health Organization and the Center for Tobacco Control in Africa, because the Tobacco Control Bill looks at this as a way out. According to Article 17 of the World Health Organization Framework on Tobacco Control, it is said that tobacco growers, workers, as well as individual sellers must be provided with an economically viable alternative to shift from growing tobacco. Neighbouring Rukungiri district made no headway with tobacco growth and therefore quit for other commercial crops.
It was outcompeted by other crops, a crop like rice, a crop like maize, and coffee. So farmers saw it wise to venture into the growing of rice because it was paying much better and it was less labor demanding.
Tushabe had tried coffee but failed miserably, attributing this to the sandy soils. Maize to him is just for consumption. The urgency to pass the tobacco bill is on in Uganda, and Tanzanian MPs are ready to pluck a leaf or two so as to restrict the tobacco industry.
To make sure that we don't go through the same stumbling blocks that probably they went through.
Okay. Tanzania is one of the major tobacco growers in the region.
We are seeing more young people getting into smoking. We are seeing unlimited tobacco advertising. We are seeing cigarette packets not properly labeled. and tobacco company sponsoring some of the government activities. So we think that we need to have a tighter control of tobacco consumptions, especially in public.
All these are catered for in Uganda's Tobacco Bill, as well as the WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control Act. According to WHO, tobacco kills at least 6 million people globally each year than HIV, TB, and malaria. One person dies every 6 seconds due to tobacco consumption. It is believed that, with the control acts in place in the over 170 countries that are signatory to the WHO Framework Convention on Tobacco Control, many lives will be saved. As for the farmers, if they turn to alternative crops, they could have something to eat at home and something to sell off. Florence, NTV.